For many people, probate court is already a complex and overwhelming process, but for individuals with disabilities, it can feel like an obstacle course, one filled with confusing paperwork, inaccessible facilities, and legal hurdles that threaten their independence and security. From guardianship disputes to the fight over personal finances, the system that's supposed to protect them often creates new challenges instead. Well, in today's Inclusion Unlimited, studio intern Emma Siebold takes a closer look at the barriers people with disabilities face in probate court.
After losing their mother during the COVID-19 pandemic, Omar Correa Morales decided to go through the probate process to become legal guardian of his younger brother, Ulysses. Judge Vasquez was there every step of the way to help through that process. I'm here at the Bexar County Courthouse to hear their story.
Because you never know who else is going to step up and do it. I mean, I'll look out for him till the day I die. So, I mean, I will always be there for him and do whatever it takes for him.
A custody arrangement may seem unusual for a 43-year-old like Ulysses, but when his mother died during COVID, Ulysses, born with Down syndrome, lost his primary caretaker and closest companion.
She did everything for him, and he was always with her. I mean, everywhere she went, he followed. Like, you know, I would invite him, hey, let's go somewhere. Nah, go with Mom. Go with Mom.
In guardianship cases, probate judges like Judge Veronica Vasquez help individuals with disabilities get the care they need. For Ulysses, that was his older brother Omar, who fought to take care of his brother in the wake of their mother's loss.
It is a little difficult because I have to be a little bit not as lenient with him now. Now I kind of have to act like a parent, not his older brother. Prepare yourself for it, because a lot of people aren't prepared, and then it just comes at you, you know, like a ton of bricks, and then people start fighting.
Judge Vasquez's priority is helping people in need, and has been since her first days at the bench.
Okay, so this is RJ, and he was one of the first guardianship cases that I had here when I got on the bench, and he was so excited to be graduating from high school, and so I keep his picture. And I keep it here at my bench, and I have ever since he gave it to me, to remind me of why I'm here and what I'm doing and how what I do matters and who it matters to. So, yeah.
Probate cases often start with loss, such as Omar and Ulysses' mother. But Judge Vasquez hopes to make the process more accessible for individuals who might otherwise be taken advantage of.
I think she's just meant to be where she's at. And in my opinion, there's nobody better. And it's not just because I know her, it's because I know what she stands for and what she's capable of. You tell her nothing, she can do anything. If somebody says she can't do it, she'll get it done.
For Inclusion Unlimited, I'm Emma Siebold.
Joining me now to talk more about it is Bexar County Probate Judge Veronica Vasquez. Judge Vasquez, thanks for being here today.
Thank you for inviting me to talk about an important topic.
It's so interesting to think about, you know, how your loved ones can inherit the things you want them to, and we sometimes don't think it through while we're alive, and it's important to do so. Before we jump into the details of that, let's talk about how you have a passion for helping the elderly and those with disabilities. Where did that passion come from?
So I originally, before I became a judge, I was the director of the Guardianship and Probate Department for Catholic Charities. And so there I really focused on a lot of guardianship. So people with children with special needs, that once they turned 18, they needed to get a guardianship over them. And so that was just a passion. And then coming on the bench, what I realized is on the bench, the majority of the guardianship cases that we see are not necessarily children with special needs, even though that's a large part of them. It's actually seniors with Alzheimer's dementia. And so a lot of what I see on the bench also is elder exploitation. A lot of times what happens is that, you don't realize until you're there how prevalent it is, because it's not talked about. It's not one of those things, for whatever reason, that's really talked about in the media. But it's a huge problem, especially here in Bexar County. We are the second behind Harris County in sheer numbers of exploitation cases in the state of Texas, according to Adult Protective Services.
That's frightening.
It is.
People who are watching right now, a lot of them might be saying, I don't have to worry about that because I have a will. And you have taught me, you better still worry about that. So explain why a will is not necessarily enough.
So, you know, if you're doing your estate planning, the things that I recommend is not only a will, but getting a power of attorney. You know, power of attorneys are super important. if you ever become incapacitated, let's just say right now, you obviously have to understand the document that you're signing, right? So if you're able to right now comprehend the document that you're signing, you can sign a will or a power of attorney. It's important because if you were ever to become incapacitated, let's just say you do have Alzheimer's, dementia, or heaven forbid that something happens, you walk out the door, you get hit by a bus, you end up in the hospital. Those legal documents are so important. So the power of attorney, they're effective while you're alive. The will becomes effective when you're deceased. People get confused. They think, okay, well, if I'm an agent and a power of attorney, once mom dies, my authority as that agent still exists. It does not. Your authority as an agent actually ends once the person is deceased.
And if you do have a will and you say, well, I have one child, I'm leaving everything to that child, we're good. You said no, you still have to go through probate on certain items.
Right, it definitely for we're talking about real property items. So we're talking about homes. If you put a vehicle in there are tools that you can use to avoid probate. One of them we talked about was a trust. Trust sometimes can be very expensive. The other things that can avoid probate, especially if you have real property, you want to look into a Lady Bird Johnson deed or a transfer on death deed. Those are great tools.
What are those? I don't.
So those are legal tools. Lady Bird Johnson deed is very specific to Texas, right? Named after Lady Bird Johnson deed. Those are documents that are filed in the deed records while the person's alive. So let's just say mom executes a Lady Bird Johnson deed for her home, and she wants to leave her property to her 2 children. She can put that in the Lady Bird Johnson deed, file it in the real property records. It does not become effective until she passes. The kids can receive that home outside of probate. They do not have to hire an attorney. They do not have to go through the probate court in order to receive that home. It's a lot less expensive than a trust. Obviously you want to talk to a lawyer, figure out what your circumstances, what's best for your family. But those 2 documents, and also the state of Texas, also the DMV has almost like a transfer on death title, and I don't know the specific name of it, but it's the DMV, and if you Google it and you put that transfer on death deed title, it'll put you to the direct form.
So people who have disabilities, what are some of the unique circumstances that they have to probate that maybe they're not thinking about right now?
So if you have a child that has special needs, you really want to talk to the ARC of Texas or someone that's going to be, you're looking into a special needs trust or whatever may work for your family so that you can provide for that child after your death. There are ways to do that, so you definitely want to look into special needs trust or any type of trust to help take care of that child when you're gone.
Well, what if your child does have a disability and you don't have a will or a trust or anything? What happens to that individual?
So if you don't have a will, regardless of if you have a special needs child or not, you have to go through what's called an heirship proceeding. That heirship proceeding is you have to have one attorney. So an attorney has to be hired to help. There's two attorneys that are involved. One is an attorney ad litem, that's a court-appointed attorney to investigate any unknown heirs out there. There's the attorney that's bringing forth the heirship proceeding. All heirs are going to be named, and the state of Texas then dictates how the property is going to be distributed. So the great thing about a will is that you dictate how you want your estate to be distributed amongst your loved ones. That document speaks for you after death on how you want your property to be distributed. The other important thing is if you have a special needs child, you can designate a guardian as part of your estate planning tools. It's not necessarily in your will, but there's another designation of guardian that you can have, that you can ask your attorney as part of your will packet, so that if you were to die, you say this is who you want, and let's just say you're already the guardian. You're the guardian of your child with special needs. You then want to designate your daughter to become the guardian should you die. You can designate in this form. And of course, the court always looks into all the circumstances, right? If the person's disqualified by law, regardless of what that form says, we're going to do the right thing under the law.
If somebody out there passes away and they have a 17-year-old child who has disability, who becomes guardian? That just becomes the judge's decision?
Right. It's so that we are required by law to look, and there's certain disqualifying factors as far as felonies, sexual assaults, things of that nature that automatically disqualifies them. But if all things are equal, it's going to be up to the judge. If all things are equal, meaning that there's people that are fighting and they're both qualified, it's really going to be up to the judge.
So get your affairs in order is what it sounds
Absolutely, absolutely, especially if you have a child with special needs. Especially you want to provide for that child, make sure that they're taken care of, designating who you want to become the guardian. So
establish a guardian, get a trust or one of these documents if you were in Texas, the Lady Bird Johnson, and the transfer upon death. Is that what it's called?
Yes,
transfer upon death.
And look into special needs trust for your children as well. Yes, absolutely, because especially while you're alive, you want to make sure that you have these estate planning tools set up. Because if, let's say you do pass and this is your only child and you want to leave them all of your property, all of your estate, they obviously will not be able to manage it. So you want to have some sort of trust set up for someone managing a special needs trust. The ARC of Texas does these things. I'm not here to advertise for anyone. There are other people that do these documents, these special needs trusts, but I know that they're one of the more popular ones that you can use. You can go online to see what type of trust is best for your child. But if you have a special needs child, it's almost a must for you to set up these documents in order for them to receive them.
Judge Vasquez, thanks for being with us and spending so much time educating all of us on an issue we should all take very seriously.
Yes, planning. And I think sometimes people are afraid to talk about it because they think they don't want to jinx, they don't want to, but there are two things certain in life, death and taxes. And so we're all going to be there one day. We just want to make sure we protect our loved ones as much as possible.
Awesome advice. Thanks again, Judge.
Thank you.
Judge Vasquez.
Thank you.
And as always, thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share this channel so we can continue bringing you original content with Inclusion Unlimited.